Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 163 of the Civil Gore podcast. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian, and we got a really cool show this week. So we were doing the original Castle Freak, and we are pairing it with an amazing interview, which we'll hear coming up, with the awesome Emily Sweet, who is going to star in the Castle Freak I was going to say remake, but it's not. It's a reimagining. Barbara Crampton told us we have to say reimagining in her interview, so we are going to stick with that because we don't mess with Barbara.
That's right. Yeah, and I am so looking forward to that reimagining. And you know, yes, horror fans are always a little skeptical of remakes, but I don't feel bad or nervous about this remake. I think this is like a movie that could really be a lot of fun.
Right, and I've read articles on it, and Barbara Crampton, who is producing it, she basically said, she goes, no, this is, she traveled down there for this because she basically said, this is my legacy. This is a movie that she's proud of, the original, so that she will not let something that is not good. And plus, with Emily Sweet in it, it's just going to be even better. So I think, we are super looking forward to this, and you'll get to hear a little bit. We don't have much info on it, but you get to know at least Emily a little bit better in the upcoming interview.
Yeah, and this one's going to be. I was really excited to do an older movie because we've been on a roll lately doing a lot of screeners that we've gotten and indie films, which are fantastic. Don't get us wrong. We've had some fantastic interviews come out of those. But it is kind of nice to go back to a little old school Civil Gore and do some of these older classic movies. And especially with Halloween coming up around the corner, I think it's nice to do some like classics that you can watch on Halloween.
Yes, this will be fun. This was a great one.
All right, well, let's get right to it. This is our first chop. All right, Brian. Well, we got a couple little things here on the rundown, but first up, you are continuing your Amityville horror project, which I don't know how you're doing it because you're still in the middle of the horror movie challenge, so that takes some dedication.
Well, it's a lot of weekends of I'm not really going anywhere in the weekends these days, so I pretty much just from most of the day just watch horror movies, which is good to do in October anyway. So I watched the Amityville Horror 2005, which is the remake. That was a remake. It's funny enough, right? That we were just talking about remake. But you know what? I don't remember, like when I had seen it previously, I was like, I don't remember hating it. And so when I watched it this time too, I actually didn't. I found no problem with it. I know some people did. I thought it was actually pretty solid. I mean, yes, the original is a classic, and but this one, it definitely stands on its own. I mean, it does a couple of new things to it. I thought the cast was phenomenal. I mean, I almost forgot, like, Chloe Grace Moretz was in her first movie. Basically, this was her first movie. Oh wow! Yeah. So she played the little girl in it, and she was really good. Even then, you could see that she had talent as an actress. I thought Ryan Reynolds was fantastic. Melissa George. I mean, this was a solid. I thought this was a solid remake. I actually really had fun watching it again, and there was some cool, creepy elements in it. Also, the one that plays Scarlett in the G.I. Joe movies was in it. I forgot she was in there too as the babysitter.
Yeah, so, I like this one too. This one has never been on my list of like awful remakes by any means. No, I actually remember really enjoying this one, for what it was. Obviously it's not going to be the original, but for what it was, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, no, I actually really was surprised that it was how good it was actually. So so this was a good one. I know I got some. Probably I think this might be the last of my of the Amityvilles that. That you can probably confidently go into with at least some sort of merit. I can't speak for I take that back, because that one, that recent one, the Amityville Murders, the one where Diane Franklin returned, that one was actually pretty good. But there's some weird ones in there, and like I said, so anything that ends with Amityville, I think my last one on the list of movies that are currently out is the Amityville Vibrator. So you see what my future holds. So I should cling to the good old days with this one. But yeah. So actually, the next one is supposedly it's a documentary I need to track down. I remember while I was prepping for the project, I found it on YouTube, I think. So I'm hoping it's still accessible. It was like a documentary that someone made on the real story, which is kind of cool. So.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that counts in my project. I'm counting those. So hopefully I can still get my hands on it.
So next up, we had a fun little game night between me, Brian, and Cohn, and we used a product, if you guys aren't familiar with it, called Tabletop Simulator. And basically, what it does is it allows you to play board games over the internet. It has kind of a physics-based software engine, and it doesn't like automate the game for you. You basically have to maneuver the pieces just like you were sitting in front of a real board game. But people have gone in and made different modules for this of various board games, and The Shining happened to be on there, the Shining board game, which we had not got a chance to actually play due to COVID.
We all own it, though.
Yeah, we own it. We just haven't been able to play it because it requires a minimum of 3 people. And so I haven't been able to like solo it or anything. So we brought that out on Tabletop Simulator, and it was a pretty good time. We actually survived. We did survive the Overlook, but
I got possessed almost every time, but I was safe. So
I'll give you kind of a brief overview. So the board is like the Overlook Hotel, and every player is a caretaker. Now in the real version of the game, we kind of played like the beginner version. In the real version of the game, one person is kind of like a traitor. And they're kind of like, I think they call them corrupted. And so they're supposed to kind of like try to sabotage the game. And the other players are kind of trying to figure out who they are. We didn't play that because we were just trying to learn the game. So we were all like good guys. And basically what you have to do is you have to kind of travel around the Overlook Hotel collecting these willpower points in the form of sometimes they're associated with weapons. Sometimes they're associated with whiskey. And they have a number on them. And you're trying to get enough willpower points to withstand the Overlook's onslaught of supernatural evil. So at the end of the round, which varies depending on what cards you draw, how many rounds you get, you will turn over your shining cards and see what the total amount of evil the Overlook is throwing at you. And if you tie or have more willpower than the evil, then you're safe and you survive. If not, you become possessed and you start attacking the other players. So you're basically trying to survive 4 months of this until you can get out of the Overlook Hotel. And we cut it pretty close, I would say. We were pretty much out of willpower.
Yeah, it didn't look like it at first. It looked like we were doing great, and then we realized how close we came at the very end, I think. And what's neat is there's like, with any of these games, these co-op games, I'm pretty much new into this gaming. Cohn and especially Tim have been veterans from all these style games, but what I think I love about the co-op games are the little strategy elements. And so it's like it's fun when you're like basically discussing with with your other players. And we found yesterday one of the greatest tricks is that it's like if you happen to be in the right spot, you can move your turn into right before you're about to do that shining level, shining round. You move into the hedge maze. So then even if you're possessed, you can't attack someone, and you also can't be attacked because if you're like I had already lost a life. That's how we kind of figured it out. I had lost a life token, so I was down to 2. So, and that was in I think it was month 2. So there was a chance I could get killed before. So what we ended up just basically moving my piece. So I was always able to jump into the hedge maze to save my life point. So that's what I love about these games. It's really cool, because you have to really think not just one, but maybe 2, 3 moves ahead.
Yeah, I like the puzzle nature of them. And that I just got the new Back to the Future Dice Through Time game, which is like that a lot too. It's also co-op, and it's unlike the Back to the Future game that you and I played, Brian. But it's a lot more puzzly. So you are thinking like, how can I best use the dice I've rolled to perform these actions? They're very very intellectual games. I like that. I like games that kind of make you think that way. So speaking of games, tell us about, and we mentioned the Blair Witch Hunt a Killer box that you got, but you had a chance to complete the first episode. Yes.
So Julie and I Friday night, we decided, okay, this is going to be our game night, date night kind of thing. We're going to go through this. So basically I'm obviously not going to go through details because anyone, any listeners or you and Steve decide to get this, which I think you should, because I think you guys will really like it. I think you'll have a lot of fun. So basically, you each level, there's 6 boxes in this you will eventually get. Basically, we spent about 2.5 hours. It averages an hour and a half to they set up to 3 hours possibly. The funny thing is Julie kind of had it figured out. Like I said, so each is an objective. You have to clear an objective to get to the next, to go move on to the next thing. And this objective, I can tell you what the objective was. The first objective is you have to find where the missing kid was seen last. His name is Liam. And you have to then, what you do is to end that round, you have to then send an email off the site to his mother. And, and if you're right, they send you back a thing and they basically tell you, well, okay, well, we'll be in touch, which is basically their way of saying, okay, look for your next box at the end of the month. But it's really cool because, so they send you a box of kind of artifacts and like fake magazines and a journal and this and like a little necklace and all these kind of like props. And you basically, your whole goal is to just comb through all that like you're an investigator on a cold case kind of a deal. And so, and it's cool because like I won't give away any secret, like I said, but basically there's just, you need to look through every single thing as detailed as possible, and then you kind of go through and start narrowing down because you get this map of Burkittsville. So Julie had this big artist big giant one of those like clipboards, those artist clipboards,
Oh yeah.
So we put that down and we like put the map of Burkittsville out. We took turns reading everything, going through, and then basically we made our assumption and we were correct. We did solve it, so we sent it through, and then it's cool. They she sends us a message back like instantly saying, oh, this is great. Da, da, da. And what's cool is that they also have like, one of the things they constantly send, like she sent me, you get letters and emails. Like I got an email from the character in the game about the Bell Witch. She's just like, oh, since you're interested in this, let me tell you this too. And she just sent me something else. Yeah. And there's like, so it's really cool interactive elements where they'll just keep sending you stuff. And there was one thing where they just said, oh, you might find some clues here if you listen to this snippet of this podcast. And so you actually click on a link and it'll take you to a little audio file of a podcast. So it's really, really fun. And the fact that it's based off of the Blair Witch is even like cooler.
And then Brian, you were gonna finally announce what your Halloween plans are. This sounds really, really cool.
Yeah, so obviously since we don't have kids, we're not gonna be trick or treating. We can't really go out anywhere. And Halloween is on a Saturday, so the cruelness continues. However, like I said earlier, I'm going to create a negative into a positive here. So what I decided, one of the goals was to finish this horror challenge early because I love watching a couple of movies every year on Halloween, or right around that time. And with the horror challenge, sometimes it makes it difficult. But so my goal is to finish up the horror challenge and leave that Saturday is completely free. And I decided what I'm going to do is literally from around 10 in the morning to whenever I finish, which I think if it goes correctly is going to be probably close to 2 in the morning. I am just going to watch a series of movies. I think I have 8 movies on the docket. Now, this is not finalized. I'll send something out on social media in the next few days. It might be out there already by the time you're hearing this. But what my goal is to do is I'm going to create a hashtag for it. Literally just watch the movies, and that's it. And I'll tweet along. It's nothing official, no official tweet alongs. I'm going to have I have a whole bunch of different pumpkin beers I'm going to be trying through the day. I'm actually going to send some pictures because I brought some cool stuff to decorate the room with. So it's just going to be like my Halloween, and I'm just going to share it with all our listeners and followers or whoever else wants to join in. I'll give a list of the movies that I have tentatively scheduled. I mean, the movies are probably finalized. That's not a problem. But I wanted to announce it too. So if anyone else does want to watch along, they can get to access, because some of this is not available for free streaming. So you may have to either purchase it or plan ahead. But so my goals are, and the theme of the movies is it's going to be obviously horror, but like going to be on Halloween or like haunt themed. So the ones I picked are going to be The Barn, which Tim and I love, the candy corn scarecrow, because I just got that Blu-ray, but that is available on Tubi and Prime if anyone needs to see it. Hellfest, Fear Farm, Halloween 3, Tales of Halloween, Terrifier, Trick or Treat, and the original Halloween.
Oh, that's a great lineup.
Yeah, and I want to finish with the one movie I watch every year on Halloween, which is Halloween. And of course, so everything pretty much is available on some kind of streaming app. But like, so Hellfest is on the Showtime one, so you need to have a Showtime subscription there. Fear Farm is not available to stream yet unless you purchase or rent it. Halloween 3: Season of the Witch I have not found anywhere to stream, but a lot of people probably have that movie anyway. I mean, you might be able to purchase it for streaming, but I didn't see it anywhere. Or you might be able to just rent it. I mean, you may want to check Vudu every weekend. They have like these amazing sales.
Yeah, they actually had a Hellfest for $5.
Oh,
I
there you
think,
go.
recently.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a great one to watch. Tales of Halloween is on Tubi and Shudder. Terrifier is now back on Tubi. It was off of Netflix, but now it's on Tubi. So that's another one, which is great. Tubi is really sneaking up to be one of the best streaming services, especially for horror. If you need it, because they have everything on there.
Yeah.
And then Trick or Treat, there's no streaming other than the digital purchase or rental. And then Halloween, the original is on Shudder. So that's my plan. I'm gonna have a bunch of snacks. I'm just gonna be tweeting for the fun of it. Just gonna be basically sharing my day with our listeners and stuff. I think it'll be kind of a fun thing. So and I'll make that hashtag. So if anyone wants to follow along, no obligation. Like I said, like if nobody pays attention, I'm still doing it. So you'll just get a lot of stuff you can catch up on later, I guess. And hopefully, I'm sure Tim will have some time to jump in on some of these. I know he's got he's with his kids, and he's got probably got some Halloween plans, but hopefully he'll be jumping in there too, so it won't be all me.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to jump in. We're just gonna I don't think we're gonna do anything during the day really much, but we're gonna maybe hope that we have Halloween this year. I don't know if Trick or Treat's going to be officially canceled, but if it's not, I mean, if they literally don't ban us from doing it, we're going to have a table out at the end of the driveway with sanitized, prepackaged bags of candy for the kids to grab and go. So hopefully that'll work out. So,
what a good Tim's Low that is.
I'm trying to do it because I like to turn on like some Halloween music and have the fog machine going, have the table at the end of the driveway, just for something for the kids to do, So I hope it works out this year.
Yeah, that's the hard. I was thinking this the other day. Like my brother, he took his, my niece and nephew out they did one of those drive-through kids haunts things at out in California, and I'm just thinking it's so sad. I'm like, my niece is 4 now. I mean, she's trick-or-treated before, and she's had fun doing it. She loves that stuff. But now she's getting to that age where she's going to really, really have fun. And it's like, and she really can't get it to the full extent, And she's someone that she loves dressing up in characters anyway. So she makes Halloween a lot anyway. So she's dressing up as something.
I think it was Jeff Tucker on one of the 91 Reasons podcasts talked about that one time. And I never really thought about it. But he was talking about how, you really only have maybe, 5 or 6 years of trick-or-treating, that you can remember.
Yeah, because there's like the little one when you're like, between like 2 and 7, how much you remember it, but not a lot. But it's that like 7 through 12.
Yeah, like 7 through 12. So, and then you think about you're actually only going out for like an hour and a half, 2 hours tops. Yeah. And then if you extrapolate that out, your whole life's trick-or-treating and Halloween comes out to maybe like 10 to 12 hours of your life. And it was kind of, I was like, oh man, I never thought about it that way. But like all your memories and everything you've had of a kid going trick-or-treating was all packed into like 10 hours. So.
That he's got some of the best like insights on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God, I feel like he gets us. It's like he gets our generation so well.
He really does. That's why I really like his show, because he comes up with that stuff and I go, oh my God, you're right.
Yeah, and that's crazy to think of, because I'm thinking so many times, I'm like, well, now I'm trying to remember how many times I actually trick-or-treated as a kid. Like, I remember some of them, but it probably seems like way more than I actually did.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe you see it a lot in movies and different things, and so it just seems like it's something you've done forever, but really it's not a lot, because then you get into that age where I'm too old to trick or treat. You get in that little like thing,
mm-hmm.
and you almost wish you didn't say that ever. Like you almost wish you could trick or treat until like I really wish like adult trick-or-treating would come back, like in some way, like maybe like after 10 it's adults only trick-or-treating.
Yeah, they hand out beer instead of candy.
Yeah, beer and shots or something. Totally, we need to bring that back. I tell you, once COVID's got long gone, we need to start bringing that
trick or treating. Yes,
damn right. We're gonna need something. But yeah, I mean that's and that's why. But I also think that's why those 12 hours, maybe only 12 hours, but look at the impact it has on you. That like, you know. Why so many people like, well, actually, I don't know if that part made the interview, but we were talking a little bit. It might have been right before we started officially. We were talking about Halloween just in general, and like, you know, how much we love Halloween, and you know how we also talked to David last week about all these great these Halloween memories, and it's, you know, now it becomes like such a thing, even if we're not trick-or-treating. Like you know, you can live vicariously through your kids, and me, like I remember when I took my niece and nephew for their first time. I mean, my nephew was in a stroller. He didn't really, but he had a little costume on, but my little niece would just go, you know, she'd dress a little cat, and we took her around. So it's just stuff like that. Or I remember with my cousin or my friend's kids. So it's like there's just so much, you know. I don't think people understand how important Halloween is. And that's why I get annoyed too, because a lot of people have been posting. It seems like this year of all years, they're like rushing it through, like at the stores. Like, I mean, I know, yes, they try and get Christmas up there, but it seems like this year it's like, okay, what? Oh, Halloween? No, it's not gonna be the same. Okay, let's get it out of here. And like, I was at Target the other day, and you could already see like how they were like stripped half the Halloween section and already was replacing it with Christmas, and I'm just like, you couldn't even wait 2 weeks.
I know.
2 more weeks is a deal.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, come on.
That really bugs me.
Yeah. Although I did find really cool pumpkin spice candles at Marshall's. So if you guys are still looking for some cool stuff, we just happened to go into a Marshall's and found little pumpkin candles, because I was looking for a couple of pumpkin candles for my setup for my Halloween watch-a-thon, and so I found that.
Nice.
So.
Well, let's get right. Are we going to do the interview first or the feature first?
I don't know. This one's different, so she's not in the movie.
I think do the interview first this time.
Yeah, let's do the interview first. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go right into our interview with Emily Sweet. She was fantastic to talk to. We had such a good time, and we actually talked a lot longer than this interview after the.
No, she's just one of those people that is like, literally. I mean, I know this sounds silly and cheesy, but she lives up to her last name. Yes. I mean, because she really is like one of the sweetest, nicest people, and so much fun to talk to. She loves horror. She loves Halloween, all this stuff that we did. So we just couldn't stop talking. Like we were having the best time. Yeah, so. But of course, that was a lot of it after the interview part. But yeah, so we'll get even the interview part, we have so many great things, and you'll really get to know her well. And which is good, because she's done a lot of great stuff, and especially one of her latest is Fear Farm, and she's going to be in the Castle Freak remake. So this will be good. Get her, know her now, because she is going to be a name you will not forget.
All right, guys. So let's get right to it. Our interview with Emily Sweet.
We are really excited to talk to our next guest. She has battled her way through a Jumanji-like video game, took on chainsaw-wielding maniacs in a corn maze, and is starring in the reimagining of the 1995 classic Castle Freak. Welcome to the show, the incredibly talented Emily Sweet.
Hi, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, this is awesome. So, Emily, we always like to give our guests a chance to tell our listeners kind of their origin story and how they got started in the business. So what are some of the projects you've worked on that they might recognize you from?
So as we just said, the new reimagining of Castle Freak, but that's not out yet. But if anyone knows Castle Freak, then they know that it has been redone. And so I cannot wait for that. I'm so excited. Just recently, I guess a month ago, Fear Farm came out, and that's been doing very well, thank goodness. I love that movie, near and dear to me. And then I did this movie that I don't know if some people actually really know, and some don't. It's a non-horror movie, and so it's kind of off-brand for me, but it's called Palace. And then the final level, Escaping Rancala, which is also a fun little sci-fi asylum movie.
Yeah, that one's really good. Actually, Tim, I don't know if you got to see it yet, but it'd be fun for the whole family. It's really fun. It's very it's Jumanji-like, but in a video game. It's pretty cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like right in my alley. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, you will like it. That one I actually really had fun. I didn't know what it was about, and then I watched it. I did like a binge on your movies to catch up, and so that one was one of my favorites. I like that one.
Yeah, so the funny little thing about that hit for, I don't know, a limited run in theaters, and I love Adam Sandler more than anything, and our movie poster for that was next to Uncut Gems, and I about had a heart attack and died. Like, our little movie, like, get up to, right next to Adam Sandler's Uncut Gems. But no, Rand Call is super fun. Thank you for watching.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen Hubie Halloween yet on Netflix?
Me and my she's my neighbor. She lives downstairs. We just we have a projector, and so we watched it on the outside of our building with a couple of friends. And say what you will, they had some good throwbacks in there, like the O'Doyle rules and all that stuff.
Oh yes, that's awesome though. You gotta have O'Doyle rules.
Exactly.
Yeah, my kids absolutely loved it. They loved it.
Yeah, it's a really fun time.
Yeah.
I still need to see that. And by the way, I am jealous because I saw you post a picture of your little setup back there at the outdoor screen. That's a dream of mine to have like an outdoor screen someday where I can like set up and just watch pretty much everything. But
we're lucky that we have. I mean, it's tiny, but we do outside of our apartment building. It's only 4 units. It's really small. We have like this really nice outdoor kind of little tiny yard, but hey, it works. So we're very thankful for that.
That's awesome though. That looks so cool. So, and actually, so through a couple of conversations I think that we've had through social media and stuff that we know you are a big horror fan, of course. So what are some of your favorites, I guess, growing up or currently?
Sure. Okay, I always say this. I'm going to sound like the biggest brat. I hate saying this, but it's true. Not a lot of things scare me. I'm like, please send me something or tell me to watch something that will scare me. And I know that sounds super bratty. But I have to say that my favorite horror movie is High Tension, that French movie, because the first time I watched that, I wasn't scared when I was watching it, but then after everyone left, I was all alone in my room, and I got scared, and so I do really appreciate that movie. I love that movie, too, because I remember, like, watching it for the first time, and you both have seen that, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I have to see it. I haven't seen it in a while, though. I need to rewatch that, though.
But the part when the dad, I mean, spoiler alert, I guess, but when the killer puts the dad's head through the stairwell and then shoves the dresser and it knocks his head off, I swear I remember, like, seeing his head be detached, but then the next time around watching it, it, like, pulls away, you don't see it. And I love that movie because I feel like I saw 1,000 things that didn't actually happen. And I really appreciate that.
Well, French horror is also always super cool. I like every French horror movie I've ever seen, I think.
That you got to watch that one then on Shudder, the French one.
Yeah, that's the one you were really impressed with.
Which yet I forgot the name. Among the Living, it's called. It's on Shudder.
Among the Living?
Yeah, it's really, really. It's like there's like disturbing things, and there's just really, and it's really kind of like it's quick. It's a short movie, it seems like, but it moves fast, and it is some of like I'm kind of like you. Not a lot scares me or freaks me out. I mean, there's a couple of things from like when I was a kid, but like barely sticks with me to the level. This one though had a couple of moments where I was just like, I was like wow, this is kind of creepy. So
like gory also, or like what kind of like?
Oh yeah, it's all of it. It's gory. It's just creepy shots. It's creepy material. It's just really good though.
Oh, perfect. Okay, you have to send that to me because I've already.
Yeah, I'll send you. Yeah. Because that's a good. I'll send you that, the wine, the whole thing.
Perfect.
Yeah, that does sound really cool.
Yeah. I didn't get into horror. I feel like people think I've loved horror my whole life, and I wish that I did, but I used to be scared of everything. And it probably wasn't until about 8 years ago that I started to really get into horror. So I was in the circus, a little fun fact. I was with the Flying Melindas, and like maybe the year after that, American Horror Story came out with Freak Show. Their season of Freak Show, I think, was the 4th one. And so I had heard about all of these, people that they were kind of portraying, and I was like, well, I have to watch. I have to watch. And I was super scared, and I was like, this is going to be horrible. And I watched it, and I was like, this isn't scary at all. Like, what? And so then I thought, well, if this isn't scary, what else isn't scary that I've been missing out on? And I just went on a deep dive. And I've been obsessed ever since.
Oh, nice. And it must be fun getting into the world of horror now that you're in it.
It is. Yes. And it's funny because I've seeing things when you're a child, I'm sure are terrifying, but seeing them as an adult, you're kind of like, oh, I can understand why this would be scary. But I mean, now we're so inundated with they're like Saw movies are like super gory things, whereas like, you know, Rosemary's Baby isn't necessarily like scary, but back then it was,
Yeah.
you know. So I just think I don't know, it's just very interesting going through all the periods of horror, if you know what I mean.
Well, what's funny, the one thing that scared me the most as a kid in any movie is still the creepiest thing to me today, which is rare, what you think. And that's, I don't know if you saw Salem's Lot.
No.
Okay, there's a sequence in that. I'm not even going to tell you what it is. Just when you get a chance, I would watch it, and I think you'll probably figure it out. It really is one of the creepiest scenes.
Okay.
And this was, when was this? Like in the 80s? Was it 80? 79 maybe?
I want to say 79. I'm
Usually, you know, you figured we'd know this, like, with a
79, yeah, 79.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like an imposter that I haven't seen it.
Well, no, I watched horror way too young, I think. That was like, so for me, that was like 8 years old. No, sorry, 7 years old when I saw that one. So it's like, probably should have seen
it
a
was
lot.
a miniseries.
Yeah,
it was a TV miniseries that came out on TV first, and that's even more amazing that it was that creepy.
Yeah.
When it was not a theatrical release.
Away with it on TV. That's great.
Yeah, so now that we've given you a like I feel like we gave you homework now. Apologize.
So I want to hear about this circus stint because
we actually had that.
We actually had that on the thing because we saw it in the like trivia, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me! Like you used to be a tightrope walker."
Okay, so bless my mom and my dad. Bless them because they have always been so supportive of everything that I've ever done, and I just gotta give them a lot of credit. So, okay, I was living in New York City, and I had always wanted to act since I was a little girl. I'd never wanted to do anything else, and like I went to school for it and whatever. And after I graduated, I moved to New York City, and I ended up getting this really great job, and I have nothing bad to say about the job. I love the company. I love the people that I work with. But in case they're listening, I don't want to say anything. But it was a great company. And so the focus, not even meaning to, kind of changed to, it was such a great job. And in New York, you know, at a young age out of college, like making money and stuff like that, I was like, oh gosh, I can't really give this up. So I never went on any auditions the whole time I lived in New York City. Like never went on anything. Acting took a back burner. And I think after a while, I got really frustrated with that, and I missed performing and I missed acting. Like that's what I wanted to do. And so one day I came home from work just really frustrated, and like a weirdo, I went on Google and I typed in circus jobs, like just to see what it was. And this wire walking position came up, and I was like, well, this is intriguing. So I clicked on it. It was with the, the Flying Melindas, and I wrote them this passionate letter being like, I have no circus experience, but I do have a theater background and a performing background and, you know, yada, yada, yada. And they were on the road at the time, and they wrote me back being like, we'll be back in 2 months. Like, let's keep in touch. And then in 2 months, they wrote, and they're like, hey, we're back in Florida. Like, come join us. And so I subleased my apartment. I packed up my shit, and then, can we swear? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And then moved to Florida, and I did that. Much to, you know, my parents were like, oh, Emily, do we really want to do that? Yes, I do.
That's awesome, though. I mean, it's not like you got like a entry level thing. You got like the Flying Melindas. I mean, that's like,
yeah.
They're known, you know?
Totally. And like the thing that, so I was actually really scared of heights at that time, but I knew that if I said that in the letter that they'd be like, well, no, you can't join our troupe. Like,
yeah.
And so I kept it a secret. And then it was really great because I don't know, I haven't like been on a high level anytime in the recent future. So I don't know, maybe my fear of heights has come back, but I don't think so. But they start you off at like 5 inches above the ground, right? Like not far. And when you feel comfortable, you move to then 5 feet, then 10 feet, and then the 35, 40 feet. So, it's not like you just, go on the 40-foot pole and a rope and then just, your feast or famine. But so it was really, I don't know, I loved it. And they're famous for not using nets, and I thought for sure during practice, like, oh, well, there will be nets there, assured my mom, don't worry, there'll be nets. no, because my boss Rick was like, well, if you learn to fall and get comfortable falling, you're going to fall. So like, we never have nets. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh my,
Oh my gosh.
that would be enough. I'd be at 5. I'd still be at the 5-inch mark like 6 months later. I'd be like, yep, I don't really feel comfortable. I'll just kind of.
You could, but the funny thing is, I mean, how sick is this? Like, people don't really want you to fall, but they kind of want you to fall, right? And so, at say like a fair or something, kids are running around and, you know, parents maybe lose track of their kids and they'll like shake the pole. And so,
Oh
and
my
if you're
God.
Oh my gosh.
kind of so when he was rehearsing, Rick would come out without me knowing and like hurl a football at me. And so like I would
Oh
just,
my
you know what I mean? To like kind of learn like, oh, okay, there's a bird that's flying or someone's shaking the pole or someone's doing something crazy. So it was a wild experience.
I think
Amazing.
I think you've terrified me more than any movie we'll discuss tonight with that thought process now of being up there, being like shaken and thrown things at. Yeah, no.
Yeah, my they had a house. My grandparents have a house like an hour away, and they came to watch once, and we went to lunch afterwards. And she like bribed me with money to quit. She was like, "Emily, please, what name your price? Like, quit. This is terrifying."
Oh my God, that is great. It's so funny how you literally brought that up before we had that in the question. I kid you not. Like I think it's like I tell Tim, I said, I think I just now have this talent to get to flow these interviews right because I was coming up with this question and there you go, you brought it up.
Well, I never talk about that either, which is very weird. That I just like kind of freely talked about it. But I think it's because it really was my intro to horror. I think.
Yeah. Well, also we have a tendency to go in the strangest different tangents, so it was inevitable you coming on that we were going to get to that. So, you know.
Yeah.
So you've been actually been really great in all the films you saw. So as like I said before, I did like a little like Emily Sweet binge over the weekend to make sure I caught up.
Aw.
And so Fear Farm, though, of course, is the latest big release. So what's it like though, seeing all those amazing reviews? Like I see nothing but positive reviews flowing in for this, and we both loved it too because that is right up our alley, that type of movie. So.
Well, it's fantastic. So, you have to start somewhere, and maybe not every movie I've done had the best reviews. To have, which is fine. You can't win everyone over, but to have something that everyone genuinely really seems to appreciate and like is amazing, especially when it's so near and dear to you. Like, you did an amazing podcast with Mark and Howard, the producers, and thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
But that movie, just, gosh, I can go on and on and on and on and on about it. It just means so much. Those people are incredible. They're lifelong friends of mine. I talk to them every day. I go over to Dante's, the director, and his wife Amy's house all the time. The DP, Dave Minadio, he comes over for horror movie nights, I don't know, once a week or twice a week maybe. I mean, these people are just so amazing, and that movie is so fun. And it's like people who don't like horror can watch it because it's also a comedy, and then vice versa. And so it's been, oh my gosh, it's been so amazing. I love it so much.
It really is just a fun, like we were saying, you heard on that episode, we were saying that it's nice to have a horror movie that's just so much fun to watch, and it's like, it's got a little bit of everything in it, which is great. It's got the cast, including yourself, of course, is just fantastic in that. I mean, everyone is so good in what they do in that movie. And even that guy was John Littlefield. When I found out he was that John Littlefield I was like, oh my God, that's the same guy. It's like, and he was good in that.
Amazing. John is one of the best actors I know, and I have no idea how he is not like in every single movie that's ever been created, because I could watch John act all day. He's amazing and he's terrifying, but so nice and so funny. I don't know. It was really, really awesome working with him. And did you guys know that remember the Taco Bell commercials, the Illuminati?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Piece of that.
Oh my God, really? I gotta listen to that now. I gotta look at it on YouTube and hear that.
I think it was Chris Leary, the guy who played Rustin, was like, "Why do you sound so familiar?" And he was the voice of like those Taco Bell. I think, I don't know if Chris said that or not, but he was the voice of those Taco Bell commercials.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. It's so funny when you find someone that you didn't realize that was in something like that, and then you like years later you're like, I'm really liking this. He goes, by the way, I was also in this, and you're like, It's like, wow.
No. And the woman who played his wife in Fear Farm is actually his wife in real life, and she is equally as lovely and amazing. And watching them act together, it's like, oh, that's so sweet.
She didn't last very long, sadly. Oops, spoiler alert. But
well, also spoiler. Well, I don't think I can say that. But there is a sequel, and maybe she'll appear in it.
Oh yeah, no. Actually, it's on IMDb now, so you could talk about it.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, well then, yes, you will see more of her in some capacity in the sequel.
I cannot wait for that.
I know. We're really excited.
Just real quick, just like to be a part of something, whether people, most people like it, but of course not everyone does, but to be a part of something that a lot of people like, and then to have a sequel, and then maybe more, and then maybe more, like, it just feels really great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I was so excited when we found out there was going to be a sequel, or maybe two.
Yeah.
So, Emily, were there any like cool stories from the set that we maybe didn't cover on our interview with Mark and Howard that you remember?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember what you guys talked. You guys talked about it being really cold.
Yeah.
Which it was freezing.
I think the girl walking with like a penguin or something. We talked about that one, right?
Yes, there was talk about freezing and someone running like a penguin, which I was like, but oh gosh, I mean, I think that like the biggest takeaway was just how, I mean, I've been on sets. Oh, also, I don't think I've mentioned Desert Shadows, which I also want to talk about because that movie is coming out and it's also really great, another horror movie. But the thing that I always take away from Fear Farm is that all of us, I mean, literally we call ourselves a Fear Farm family, and we've said that 100 times, but just, I've never been on a set where I've been on a lot of wonderful sets. I'm not trying to say anything about any of the sets that I've been on, but I've never formed a bond like the bonds that I have formed on Fear Farm. And I think that really shines through. I mean, even like in the crew, like Eric Torme, who did the sound, I mean, he like took such care of us. You know what I mean? When, I don't know if anyone else would have, but I was in that tiny cheerleading outfit, and to try to find a place where, the mic pack wouldn't show, Eric was like, okay, well, how about we try it right here? Or maybe we'll try it here. What are you comfortable with? Is this annoying? Does this feel okay? Will this keep you warm? Like, so thoughtful. I don't know. I mean, everyone was just so thoughtful.
It does. It seems like, I mean, I see how you all interact even on social media and what all the things I hear. It's like, I feel like I wish we could have been there. It sounds like a fun time.
I know. I
really get to watch it.
Yeah, wasn't there for the sequel, and no spoilers, I mean, I guess, but like, I wasn't there for the sequel, and I was like, dang it.
I know that already lost a star for us. By the way, I'm just saying that that you're not there for the sequel, but we'll I'm sure we'll get through. We'll deal with
it. I mean, anything Dante does. Have you guys talked to Dante? Have you guys?
No, he wasn't on that one.
Oh, dang. He is great, and he has stories. I mean, talk about someone who can tell a story and has them. He's amazing. It's like just a great director, and he's done a couple of other movies with Mark and Howard, which I have not seen yet, and I'm like really looking forward to seeing them. He's a great storyteller.
Oh, cool. Yeah, they gave us one to watch. I still have, and it's on Tubi, and I've yet to watch it. We're in the middle of our little horror challenge. Yeah, Apparition. Yeah, we're in the middle of our horror challenge, so it's like we're constantly watching stuff all the time. So it's really like it's hard to get something that's not in our little horror challenge because we do it like where you have to get certain character objectives to claim for the movies. So it's kind of narrows our.
Well, that is the story, actually. So, Mark and Howard did that one. And so when we wrapped filming, they, rented a theater for us. And that whole cast of Apparition, minus Kevin Pollak and Mina Sabari, but everyone else was there. And, we got to see a sneak peek of that. Or not a sneak peek, we saw the whole thing. But we saw, an early version of it. It was super fun.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So... as much as I have a feeling we could probably talk about Fear Farm for the next 2 hours, but we do have to get into something or our listeners will get extremely angry with us because we have to know because we are, as I know you told me, huge Castle Freak fans.
I just watched it last night.
Yeah, actually, I watched it today because that's actually our movie that we're pairing with your interview. Actually, is the original. So
so good.
yeah, so that it's like we figured since we can't get the new one yet, well, we'll do the next best thing. But so yeah, so we're huge fans of the match. So what basically we want to know, what are you allowed to tell us about this? I know we can't call it a remake. Barbara Crampton said it's not a remake, and I'm not going to go against what she says. So
Never go against Barbara.
no, you can't. So she says it's a reimagining. I saw in like some articles. So what are you allowed to tell us about that?
I can tell you actually a couple of things.
Okay.
I can't. I mean, there, obviously there's a few things I can't say, but it definitely is a reimagining. So there are a lot of parallels, and this won't give anything away because if you've read the Fangoria, our issue of Fangoria, when Meredith, she wrote a beautiful write-up in one of the Fangoria magazines about it, and so a lot of this I can say because it's already out there, but there are a lot of parallels. So like Rebecca and John are the same, but it's not daughter and father, it's boyfriend and girlfriend. Rebecca still is blind. There still is a freak in the castle that she inherits, and instead of John inheriting it, she does. But then there's just it's a lot more heavily focused on H.P. Lovecraft, which I think is great.
Okay.
So, and I can't really talk much more about that. But it is heavily H.P. Lovecraft focused, and it does have some throwbacks, and I have one of the throwbacks, and I can't say what it is, but you'll know exactly what it is when you see it, and I'm very excited.
Well, that's actually how we found out about you originally. Was I think Barbara had posted something I think about a year ago. She's like, hey, you need to meet Emily Sweet. She's going to be in the thing. So we followed you after that, and then who would have thought, like a year later, we get to talk to you. We'd see all these other movies you were in. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I think I know exactly the day that might have happened now that you bring that up. So we had just wrapped, and Barbara and I were hungry. It was like 6 a.m. and the breakfast at the hotel didn't open until 6:30, I think. So we're like, whatever, we'll just like sit in the area until the breakfast area until whatever. And so we were eating breakfast, and I was like, Barbara, like fangirling, and I was trying to be so cool. I was like, can you tell me how to maybe get into horror more, because that's all I want to do in my career, but like I don't really know. She was like, are you on Twitter? I'm like, I have one, but I don't use it. She goes, give me your phone. She's like, I'm going to tell you all the people to follow, and like, and she like really helped me out. She's the nicest person in the world.
She really does seem like that, because we've had a thing where she does, her photo where she makes that face, like that's, and so Tim actually posed it with his skeleton one time, and he did that. I thought she was going to kill us, but she actually she liked the photo and everything, so it was good. She seems cool.
Yeah, she's definitely a sweetheart for sure. Her movie You're Next, I was so mad that she died so early. How can you kill off Barbara Crampton?
Yeah, that's like there's certain rules you can't break in horror. That's one of them. I don't, but. Well,
sorry, I'm not trying to get off track of. I can talk about Barbara. She's so great, but no, so Castle Freak. It was. I'm so excited. We had to okay a featurette that just for like the DVD, and so that you can't see that anymore. But we had a special sneak peek of it, and I mean, I was there, right? And, so I knew what we had filmed, but I didn't see it from the other side. And it looks so good, you guys. It looks so good. I'm so excited.
I know. I can't wait. I want to see I can't even see a trailer yet, huh? There's no.
You can thank COVID for that, because
yeah.
Come out in April, but unfortunately we're still waiting. But I know I can't wait. I'm kind of like in the same boat you guys are. I'm just waiting to see it.
Do they know? Do they have any estimated time yet, or when it's coming out?
Not that I know of. Don't quote me on this, but the last I heard was they're just waiting for movie theaters to open up, but I could be very wrong, so don't quote that at all. That could be way off.
Yeah, well, supposedly we just got word like our theaters on Long Island are going to be possibly opening up by the weekend, so hopefully we'll see, because it's funny, I'm like, I'd still be a little nervous to go back in, but I don't know. I might have to do it if Castle Freak is showing, though. That I might have to just
yes.
wear the face shield, go in,
I know, with the mask, the shield, your face.
Hazmat suit, whatever it takes.
It was such a great experience. Tate Steinbeck is an incredible human, and his practical effects background. So I love horror. I love everything horror, but I'm not a huge CGI fan. I think can do things practically, like you should spend the money and do them practically. And
Agreed.
I got that whole team a lot of credit, and Tate a lot of credit, because yes, he was directing, but he also like had his hand in, you know, making sure everything was amazing. And the few things the few things that I have seen, I mean, I've been blown away. They look so good. And Tate is such an incredible director that also, like, I mean, paralleled with Dante, you can try things you can try things and feel safe doing them. Like, you know what I mean? They'll never make you feel like an idiot, or they'll never make you, you know, feel like, well, you shouldn't do that because that wasn't in the script. Like, they both are very, very awesome at, like, making you want to try things and, like, really test your character. And I gotta tip my hat to both of them.
That's awesome.
Nice. So, Emily, I noticed you have some writing and producing credits as well on IMDb. No directing credits. Have you ever wanted to direct a film?
Oh, I'm scared of that. I wouldn't say no. And actually, Dante and I are doing a horror feature together. And we don't know who the director is yet. And he's like, do it.
Yeah.
Oh, you totally should.
I know, but then I just feel like, I don't know. I give people credit who can do all of it, but I also think it's like kind of cheesy. It's like acted in, written by, produced by, directed by. It's like, oh, all right, enough is enough. So I don't know. We'll see. But we are working on something, and I'm very excited.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
Well, we would be behind 100% if you did that. We'd make sure we gave you some pep talks if that's what it takes.
Well, that's very sweet. Thank you. Yeah, no, I don't know. I think my fear about that is I love horror so much, and everyone's like, you should do it. No one knows horror more than you. And then I do something, and they're like, wow, that sucked. Like, I thought you knew horror. Like, that's such a huge fear.
No, you know what I've noticed, and this is Tim, you probably agree too. A lot of the people, the best, I think, people out in the horror community, between actors, directors, all that, are all people that actually really love horror. You know, because I think when you go all in and you are a huge fan yourself, it shows, and you get some of the best stuff. So if you're worried about that, I wouldn't, because I think that's what would just create some even more amazing things.
Thanks. I'm going to text you every day and have you remind me.
Absolutely. I'm good at, like I told you, sometimes my rambling can be used for good. So, you know.
And we'll see. We're still in pre-pro, but yeah, we'll see.
So, okay, so you kind of, I think you might have teased a kind of this a bit, but so we would like to ask this question a lot too. So if you could pick your dream role in either a franchise that already exists, or like a specific type of role, what would that be?
Sure. I would hands down. I have a few answers to this question. Greedy. No, I'm just kidding.
No, just kidding.
So I would love to do a favorite remade Reanimator. I really would love to do Reanimator. I love that movie so much. I think it's great, and I know the women I guess Barbara's role in that movie isn't huge, but I just adore that movie so much. I would love to be a part of it. I would love to be a part of the Hellraiser series.
We need a new Hellraiser too.
Yeah,
we need one to kind of right the ship, I think, on that series.
Yeah, I think it's so great. Also, okay, I will answer your question, but I want to come back to, why do you think that they made him evil? Pinhead evil? Because he was like not evil, or maybe you thought he was always evil. I thought he was like a nice guy the first two movies. So we'll come back. Again, I could just go on forever. But then also one of the 90s, 2000s, Scream, or I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'd love to just kind of I know they're doing a new Scream, but I would love to be a part of one of those as well.
They're filming that right by Tim's house, actually.
Yeah. My brother-in-law, they just filmed a scene right down the street from him, and he went out and got to see it. So I got to see him filming. Yeah, so that's exciting. Wilmington's becoming some kind of horror movie mecca now. I don't know what's happened, but pretty cool.
Great.
Mm-hmm. Works for the podcast.
Yeah.
No, seriously. That's great. He was just then go watch. Do you like pee?
Yeah.
Well, and that's what's funny too, because we have like that's another good balance, because Tim gets all the filming done where he is, but I live in Amityville, so I have that horror cred for me. So
Okay. Awesome. I don't know why that it has nothing to do with what I'm about to say, but when you said Amityville, it reminded me of Phantasm. Do you
Oh, we love that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, love Phantasm.
You guys love it?
Oh yeah, we actually
yes.
did a whole last summer. We do a thing over the summer called the Summer Slaycation, where we take a whole franchise and dedicate like 2 weeks to it and split it up. And last year we did Phantasm, and I was kind of new to the series last year. I'd only seen I think the first one as of last year, but Tim was a big fan, and so we each bought. I had this box set of it, and I went through. Oh my god, I loved it. So now I'm like a huge Phantasm fan.
So good. So I also was new to it. I have an acting buddy, Jonas Baranka, who was like, "Hey, have you ever seen the Phantasms?" Because we also do like a horror movie night, and right now we're doing all of the Friday the 13th.
Nice.
But before Friday the 13th, we did all of Phantasms because I'd never seen them. I was like, "How again? Am I a fraud? Am I an imposter? How do I call myself a horror fan? I haven't seen this franchise." So good.
Well, just think in like 6 years, people will be saying, "What do you mean you haven't seen the Fear Farm franchise?" So,
Yeah,
and then you could
exactly.
say, you can just go like, "Yes." That's it.
Oh, amazing. But Tim, I'm sorry to round out. I don't know who asked you, I'm sorry, but to round out that, I would honestly just love to be covered in blood. Any movie where I can be, it sounds so weird, but any movie where like I'm badass and be covered in blood.
So you want another Carrie remake, I think.
Yeah, there you go.
Sure.
So, Emily, you alluded to a film you're doing a little bit earlier, because this is the part of the show that we were going to give you a chance to kind of promote some upcoming projects. But I think you mentioned a film that you had not mentioned before that you wanted to promote.
Shadows. Okay, yeah, Desert Shadows. So I did this movie. I don't know if I can say that either. Spoiler, dang. But yeah, so it's like the interest. Okay, so Fear Farm's like a horror comedy. Desert Shadows is like a family drama horror. It's like drama horror, which I had never done before, and I thought was really interesting. But Tyler Bourne's this was like his baby. He worked on this for, I don't remember, 5 to 10 years. Like he had this in the works, and then finally a couple of years ago, he like did it. He's a 2-time Emmy Award winner. I mean, he's fantastic. We filmed it out in Reno, and that also, I'm not sure because of COVID, that was supposed to come out this year, and I think it might still be coming out. But yeah, it's about these two brothers. One of the brothers goes missing. There's this, kind of alien/monster that's kind of taking over the town. I'm this overzealous, eager college student who like wants to get my hands in like the monster realm. Mitch Pileggi's in it, which if you ever watch X-Files, like he was on X-Files. Yeah, and I love it. It's really fun, and I get to be bloody in that movie without any spoilers, and so it's I'm excited for it.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's so many I see there's so many things on your IMDb, and I'm like, you can't find some of them yet, though, right? Because there's some with like shorts, I guess, and some were the new stuff. So
yeah, a lot, yes. I know that's like the interesting thing about this industry is you can work on something there's a movie, Angels of Mercy, that I did a couple of years ago, which is really good, and I don't know like where to find it. So I know it's weird when you are really super proud of these things that you've done, but then like they don't come out because of whatever reason. So but hopefully when COVID gets sorted out, you will be able to see Desert Shadows, you'll be able to see Castle Freak, and then Fear Farm just came out. So
yes, well, we'll have like it'll be your year next year, basically. Everything will come out in 2021.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm hoping.
So finally, I guess here's the part where you can let people. We'd like to let everyone know where you can find you and follow you on social media, websites, etc. So that way, people can be kind of on top of all your different projects.
Sure, thank you. That's nice. It's all the same so I mainly just do Twitter and Instagram, and it's Emily Sweet. So when I say that, people are like, Emily Sweet. I go, no, it's Emily Sweet. They're like, yeah, Emily Sweet. No, it's Emily Sweet. Mile High SWEET.
Well, yeah, and we could say firsthand that following you is great because you're very interactive with the fans, and you're always good at replying and responding. It's really fun because I know we've had some funny back and forth just because of that, and that's so great because it does. It brings people closer as the horror community when they get to talk to their favorite actresses and actors and directors and whatnot, and it really does a good thing. And I think horror is like that more than any other genre. I feel like there's a closeness.
Yes, I know you're. Well, sorry to interrupt you, but yes, the horror, especially on Twitter, that horror community on Twitter is just like incredible. It's so amazing, and it's close knit and it's tight. And I haven't experienced that before. I think the horror community truly is, and like people who are not in horror, probably the horror community. I would feel like the comedy, whatever, would be more tight knit. But no, the horror community loves each other. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so it's basically. So remember, we'll put that your information in the notes, in our show notes about where to follow you. But yeah, so everyone needs to follow Emily Sweet at It's Emily Sweet.
It's Emily Sweet.
Just to make sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. This was such a treat, especially because I don't know about Tim a little bit. I definitely fanboyed out a little bit because it was so great to see you in your movies and then get to talk to you about them and stuff. It's really cool. So.
Oh, I truly, 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 truly appreciate you guys having me on. I was like, you want me? Wow. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was fantastic. It's always fun to be able to talk to people that have created movies that we really love, and then not only just to hear the behind the scenes stuff, but like I was telling Brian, we mention this every show, and I know our listeners get tired of hearing it, but like every interview we've done has been like the super nicest people that have made these movies. I mean, we have not had a bad interview where we've had. I mean, everybody's just been just blown away how friendly and informative and knowledgeable everybody has been. Yeah, it's really great.
Well, that's really nice. For me, this industry is super hard, and who am I, right? So the fact that I get cast in things and people want to hear me, I'm just like, thank you so much. So really, again, thank you again for having me on. I super, super appreciate it.
Oh my God. And anytime you want to come on to promote something, just say the word. We are big fans, but now I feel like we know even better. So with anything we could do to help promote, spread the word, just let us know.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, Brian, that was a ton of fun, and man, I cannot wait for that Castle Freak. Like we said at the top of the show, and then hearing Emily talk about it even made me want to see it even more because she talked so highly of it. So it's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait.
Yeah, and you could tell she loved everything about it. I mean, and so that, like, knowing that coming from someone that knows her stuff with horror and she just embraces it, this will be like between that and Barbara Crampton, like Helmet. I mean, just producing it and be so strongly behind it. I mean, I can't see this not being amazing, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be a blast. All right, so. Let's get to another Castle Freak, the original from 1995. And I will have to confess, Brian, this is one of those classic movies that I watched really for the first time. And you guys might remember this, longtime listeners. I talked about me watching Castle Freak many episodes ago. One of our earlier episodes, I remember talking about having just watched it for the first time and how much I loved it. And I ended up it's not one of those movies that I've watched a lot of times. I watched it again when Joe Bob had it on, the last drive-in, of course. But it's not one of those movies that I've watched over and over because as much as I liked it, it was one of those that I was like, you know what, I'm going to get the Blu-ray. One day I'll get the Blu-ray. I'll get the Blu-ray and then I'll watch it. And I'll watch the commentary and all this stuff. And I just never got around to doing that. So I never watched it multiple times like I have a lot of these classics, like some of my franchise movies. So that in that respect, I kind of feel a little bit bad about this episode because I don't have that like wealth of knowledge of having watched Castle Freak growing up and watched it for 50 times. It's still kind of a newer movie to me, but I still love it.
It is. I mean, if you think about it, it's 95, right? It's not that old.
It
So
seems that old, though. That's what's
you would
weird,
think it's
yeah.
that old. Yeah, but it's really not that old. So, it's like when you think about it, it's like, think about it. We were well into our whole horror world by then. I mean, think about it. This is not a 90s horror movie.
Right.
If you look at all the other movies in the 90s, we've discussed it. This is not one of those. So this one has it's almost like this fake retro-ness to it that like you feel like you should have seen it back in the 70s, and yet nobody could see it before 1995. So but and I've seen it a number of times since that time you had me. I wanted to watch it then, and of course I watched the Joe Bob, but I watched it I think a number of times then. I watched it a couple times. Watched it. Actually, it's funny. Randomly, I think I watched it last week, like a week or so ago, and then I watched it again today just to prep again for the show. And it's just funny. This is Julie's first time watching it. She kind of was watching along with it, and her reactions were pretty priceless at some scenes. Yeah, no, this one is just. And I mean, if you think about it, it's like when you take that trio of Stuart Gordon, Barbara Crampton, Jeffrey Combs. I will pretty much, you can put anything with them, those three in it in front of me, and I know I'm going to enjoy it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's the way it is. It's just the way it's going to be. And so, yeah, this one, yeah, yes, did I watch it as many times as like some of the Friday the 13th? Not even close, but there's a difference for that. And yeah, I too, believe it or not, I do not have this in the monolith. But I'm waiting. I want a really like an ultimate version of this, which I'm hoping comes out in the next year.
I think that's why I never bought it, because I don't think there's ever been I don't think there's like a super like collector's edition of this or anything, unless I'm mistaken.
I didn't see one. I was looking actually today again because I'm like, wait a minute, how do I not have this yet on the monolith, on the shelf there? And I think, yeah, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh, you know what? There's always this Blu-ray, and I thought I remember them talking about a special edition, like a special version of it. But yeah, as far as I know, I don't see one there. I'm hoping they come out with like one of those like Shout Factory editions or something. I mean, they have the other ones. I mean, of other styles of the other types of those movies that have it like that. So I'm hoping they will do one sooner or later, unless we just completely missed it.
I haven't seen one. Most of the ones I've seen are like just kind of bare bones versions, which is fine. But this movie deserves a collector's edition for sure.
Oh my god, yeah, or even if it's like one of the two, like either it's one of the Arrow ones or the Shout Factory, one of those styles, with like lots of fun special features. Yeah, I mean, you can get it pretty cheap. I mean, you can get it for like, something, I think around like $20 on Blu-ray, but like it's like, why would I buy? I'm hesitant to buy it because it seems like it's been on Shudder perpetually since Shudder began.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think it's ever been off of Shudder as far as I know. So it's like, why would I just buy a version that when I can constantly see it right now? I want to see, I will buy in a heartbeat though. Like if there's a Shout Factory, there's not even a question. Like if there's ever, we can already say now it's going to be pick of the week.
Oh yeah,
if that comes out into a special edition. So yeah.
I do remember when I watched this movie, there's some like really shocking scenes in it, and I don't know if I feel like they were shocking because the movie constantly feels like it was made a decade before it was made, and that's why they have more of an impact, or if it was because they are actually shocking. Maybe some combination of the two, but there was like just some of the stuff in here is just like, it was kind of jaw dropping to me. Some of the scenes and stuff with the freak and some of his proclivities, let's say.
Yeah, and like some of the stuff, just like there's some sequences in there that just are like hilarious. Like I think Jeffrey Combs, like pretty much every line he does is got this like sense of hilarity to it, even when it's not supposed to be.
Yes,
but it will still works. Like it doesn't it's not so funny that it takes you out of the movie. It's funny because it's Jeffrey Combs doing it. He's just got a talent of it. Like there was this one. We didn't even go through the beginning like we normally do, which we'll do after, I guess, real quick. But just because I started this, I might as well finish this thought. But like the thing when he's yelling, and he's like, hey, you can't leave. If you leave, they're gonna think I'm guilty. And just like just the way he does it, it's so like Jeffrey Combs, and it's like you gotta like love this thing. And it's funny too because when I had it on, I asked Julie, I said, when do you think this was made? Like what year? She goes, I don't know, maybe like early 80s, late 70s. I'm like, 1995. She goes, oh, why does it look so bad? I'm like, well, I said it was definitely an intentional aesthetic that they tried to put, but yeah, and and it was very low budget, but you could see once again. But like Joe Bob says, budget means nothing, because if you have a good script, good performances, you're going to get a good movie, and that's what this one is. So, but I guess we should probably go back to the. We totally skipped our.
We did. We skipped our whole intro
opening.
Here. Oh, so of course, Castle Freak, 1995, directed by Stuart Gordon, starring Jeffrey Combs as John Riley, Barbara Crampton as Susan Riley, Jonathan Fuller as Giorgio, Jessica Dollarhide as Rebecca Riley, Massimo Sarchielli as Gianetti, Elizabeth Kaza as Agnes, Luca Agnes is what I was trying to say.
I don't know. That's how it's spelled.
Luca Zingaretti as Forte. A man struggles to save his family from the strange and deadly occurrences in the castle they've inherited. And of course, as Emily pointed out in the interview, the Castle Freak reimagining is going to have a few changes from this, but I think from what she was describing it, they sounded pretty cool changes.
Yeah, just kind of like a modernization, a couple of modernization changes, a couple of similarities. And she did tease, she couldn't say what, of course, but she said there's a lot of good throwbacks and callbacks, and she said she has one of them, but she can't say what yet. So it will be cool to see what she's referring to. We can't wait, and it's funny. There was something I noticed today that we'll go through some trivia too. But here's one sequence that I like. It's almost like it's kind of interesting. So how when someone loses a sense, supposedly their other senses are heightened, right?
Right, yeah.
Like her hearing, because the main character, she's blind, but she should be able to, Rebecca, she should be able to hear. Which she does. She hears, she can pretty much hear the freak downstairs the whole time. But wouldn't you figure her sense of smell would be heightened too, right? Because he walks into the room. What must he smell like? He's literally been down there, like nude, with sitting in his own feces, probably. He's already been bloodied, and so he's got dried blood and active blood on him. He's, showers or something he doesn't know about. And he walks into the room and is like 2 inches from her. And it takes her finally like 5 minutes to finally say, oh my God, you're him. I'm like, you should have smelled him down the hall. I mean, come on.
That's a good point.
I was like, it cracks me up, and that's where my mind goes. But remember, that's on multiple viewings of this. Like, I probably wouldn't even think twice about that in the first one. But then when my OCD kicks in, I start noticing things like that. I'm like,
That's not going to be part of our candle line, by the way. Celebrity candle line is not.
There will not be
Freak.
Not Castle Freak odor. So Cody, don't get any ideas. There's definitely not going to be a Castle Freak line of thing. I mean, there's an action figure. That's about the merch you can get for this, but. But I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh God, what is it? And he's got for devil, I play devil's advocate though. What would his smell like? It'd be like, what would it be like? Missing finger would be a smell, sitting in feces for 20 years. I mean, really, what? What this is like? That would be the candle line, the equivalent to Bertie Bott's jelly beans from the Harry Potter series. Like with earwax.
Oh yeah, the ones that are terrible. Yeah,
maybe that's what we should do. We should do like horror movie jelly beans, but all the Castle Freak ones are Castle Freak thumb.
What we do is we have a 3-pack of Castle Freak candles. They're all identical, except one is Jeffrey Combs, one is Barbara Crampton, and one is the Freak.
Yeah, and you don't know which one until you light it, but you'll know when you light it. Can you imagine that? You just light it. And the best is when you fool the person. Like when you have a guest over, you're like, oh, let me light this candle. Oh, they all look the same. Does it matter which one? Just pick them all. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah. So this movie is a ton of fun, and I absolutely love it. And it makes me want to go back, and I don't know, it almost makes me want to just, like you said, it is on Shudder, but I just want to own this movie.
I do. I mean, it's like, yes, I mean, my monolith has some duds in there, but like I try and keep like I always try and have at least my favorite movies of all time if they're available, and as far as horror movies goes, this is up there. So the fact they don't have it is a glaring omission, because it is a movie but like I have so much access to it right now, and I'd hate to buy a filler for a version I just upgrade when they do, because like I said, if there's a special edition of this with like a commentary and some behind the scenes and really cool stuff, there's no way I'm not getting this. It's such an automatic purchase. It's not like, in fact, the monolith probably already is ready to order, because I have to say it orders by itself now. Literally, I'm really convinced it just knows how to order things. It's like that like Superman 3 computer. Remember when it like finds us what to do?
Yeah.
Found its own thing. That's like me. I'm like afraid one day I'm gonna like be pulled into my monolith and come out like a walking Blu-ray. It's like,
well, see, what you need to do is you need to buy it, and that way the Shout Factory will announce it like the very next day.
That's true. Yeah, maybe I'll just take one for the team. I mean,
Yeah.
it's $20, but well worth it. Yeah, because that's usually what happens. Every time I buy something, the new version comes out. Like, I know now that I finally got that original Amityville set. Watch out now, like a new version of that. But I had to buy that one because I can't risk, like when I got it on sale finally, I couldn't risk missing that, because the commentary track on there they have for the first movie is Hans Holzer. As a commentary track, and I'm like, wow, especially now that I've gotten into that show, the Holzer Files, which the new season comes out, and I think it might be Halloween night actually, or Halloween weekend. The new Holzer Files comes out, season 2, which of course definitely need to watch that. So that and I think one of the ones has his daughter does a commentary in the other one. So it's really like, just for that alone, it was worth the set and I got it half price. And plus, it's the only way to get the second one in 3D, even though I don't have a 3D TV. So we just got to go to Cohn's house and have like a 3D binge.
Yeah.
But
I guess we should go through some of the trivia here.
Yeah, there's some cool
trivia.
Yeah, there's some really interesting trivia on there. I don't know if you want to. Why don't you take the first one, Tim? Whichever one, yeah.
Okay, so this film is a running joke on the popular podcast, The Flop House. I haven't heard of that one, but I'm hoping that one day our running jokes make it to IMDb.
There's we always joke like what, and I'm surprised no one's put this in one of the questions that we asked, but what's a bucket list for our podcast? I mean, we've already reached like if you go to like Jumanji levels, we're probably like at level 3. Like now that we're getting to have such amazing interviews with everybody, that's something we at one point we dreamed of having. We'd like be lucky if we had anybody, and now we're getting like such amazing people on the show. Present interview on this show included. But like that's two of the things I want on our bucket list is, one, I want to be able to one day like do like one of those, like do like a moderating panel kind of deal, or like that, along with like how like in those documentaries where or like those horror shows on Travel Channel where they'll show a person and he'll be talking about something and it'll be like below it'll be like, and it'll just say Tim and Brian Civil Gore podcast.
Yeah,
I kind of want like something like that. And then I guess that and the next one is where like that, where we're literally referred to in other things. So in other mediums, like, oh well, as Civil Gore podcast says.
Yeah, it's like under the Wikipedia entry for Peter Cushing, we have our candle line. Or something. I don't know. Or at least a commentary. Maybe our Piranha 3D commentary will get on there at some point.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Collector's edition down the road.
Yeah, we need to get somewhere on there. Or we need to be killed off in a movie as podcast. Yeah. Something. Yeah. Something gets us our names out there.
All right, so to continue this trivia, the film was the source of a year-long controversy on this podcast, dubbed by fans as Ding Dong Gate, centered on co-host Stuart Wellington's insistence that Giorgio rips off his own genitals. We should have got Felissa Rose on there for it.
I know. Well, this started this. This is, if there's a thing that this film has done, this basically gave Felissa Rose her whole second career.
Yeah, of mangled dick expert. So the debate was seemingly put to rest when director Stuart Gordon responded to a tweet from a young Flophouse fan to confirm that no, Giorgio did not rip off his own ding dong. I almost choked when I saw it. I wasn't expecting the ding-dong word.
Yeah, ding-dong.
Regardless, the film is referenced nearly every episode of the podcast alongside two other Wellington favorites, Head of the Family and The Invisible Maniac.
See, you know, I'm sure that's like our Manitou and our vehicle. You know, we have our own jokes too. You know, so maybe that's what'll get us out there famous as our vehicle line. So this one's pretty cool. This is a 2-part one. I put it into one though, just to save time. So it says the castle used in the film is an actual Italian castle owned by the president of Full Moon Pictures, the distribution company. So it was owned by producer Charles Band, and he said the crew had to quickly clean blood and guts from the floors and the walls when a Band family reunion was to take place there.
Oh, that's nice.
So imagine they forgot like to sweep up like the finger that's like loose on the floor or something like that.
That's great.
Or like the half-bitten boob that was like eaten, you know, and that's on the floor. It's like, imagine explaining that to like Charles Band's like eccentric old aunt. Like, what is this stuff you have here? I don't know why I made her a witch, but like, what's this stuff you have here? Yours don't clean anymore.
Is she British too?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Probably not. Well, they do own a castle. I don't know. You know, so it's like not like, how many people do you know own castles? You know.
Yeah. Well, none. But if I did, they would all be British. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
I like this one. The cast and crew gathered before filming to brainstorm on what they felt was terrifying in a film, and then they used these suggestions to add to the direction of filming. And the reason I like this one is because we were talking with Emily after the interview aired about some horror movies we'd seen. I don't know if that was on the interview or not. Oh, whatever. But we were talking about movies for the Horror Challenge, and one I had seen recently was Cannibal Girls from 1973. And one of the trivia in that is that the actors pretty much improvised their dialogue. And I thought that was really cool. Like, they had, you know, the kind of the basic outline, but they kind of gave the actors free reign to do their own dialogue. And I love when the actors are given that kind of power to kind of just go their own way and not be so strictly have to adhere to the script. I think that's pretty neat.
Did anyone use the line from City Slickers? You know, here, have some more fill. Did they do nothing?
No. Unfortunately not.
Yeah. What kind of like inspiration and ad-libbing could you do in a cannibal film? I can't imagine. Like, I mean, once you get through the gamut of the jokes, like, boy, does this taste funny? Yeah. Maybe he was a clown. Yeah. You know, like what? Like, where else would that go?
I'm sure we could fill up an entire cannibal movie with puns. I don't think.
Oh no, you and I could. Yeah, we probably would. It would probably get. Yeah, it would be very, very tiresome. I mean, I'm sure we'd be eating our words. But moving on to the next. Oh no, and I knocked out the knocked out my whole rundown here, but I got it back. Okay, here's an interesting one. Real brain matter was used for the climax of this film, apparently. But
I need more information on that. I need more details around that, please.
I was gonna say, but all mine must be lost for this this segment right here. But
this one, you guys probably already know that this was based on H.P. Lovecraft's short story, The Outsider. And when Emily mentioned that this is going to be the reimagining is going to be even more closely adhered to Lovecraft's theme, that sounds pretty neat.
And then I mean, I guess this next one is not good, but I'll read this one. This is kind of funny because it just seems like, so it says, after Susan unbuttons her blouse and bra for the creature, a cross necklace is clearly visible between Susan's breasts, although it seems obvious the creature isn't looking at the necklace.
Yeah.
I love that that's an IMDb trivia.
Yeah.
Why is that trivia of that movie? That's like,
I think we figured that one out on our own.
Yeah, I think that one doesn't take you to be a savant of any kind of movie to figure that one out. But
all right, well, let's get to our beer pairing this week. I'm gonna love this one. I've already looked ahead because this is a brewery very close to me.
Yes, and this is one that you introduced me to that I absolutely love. We ended up getting some of the beers on like we went on our Gatlinburg trip that time, and you and Kevin had brought me a bottle on that trip too of one of the specialty versions, and that is from Wicked Weed, which is oh my god, if you guys are ever get a hold of it, if you get it anywhere in your area, don't even look which one it is, just grab it because I guarantee you will enjoy it. This one though in question is called Freak of Nature. Very appropriate. It's 8.5%. So here's the little description they give. See, they're even cool with their descriptions. It says, freak of nature, noun, an unusual, unexpected natural phenomenon. 2, an outlying West Coast style double India pale ale brewed with an abnormally large quantity of hops. 3, a delicately crafted and crushable ale designed for fresh and immediate consumption. 4, a hophead vice or downfall. Example, though warned about its habit-forming happiness, they were seduced by the dank, tropical, and drinkable freak of nature.
Yeah,
So
that sounds
that's a good match with that. And yeah, and then Wicked Weed. Oh, do I love my Wicked Weed. It's shame I don't come out here. It doesn't get here.
Well, there's a bit of a backlash among some of my more beer snobby friends who Wicked Weed sold to Anheuser-Busch. Like Anheuser-Busch owns them now.
So they start to go downhill.
Well,
that happened with the Goose Island a little bit too. Goose Island I used to like until.
I don't know that they went downhill though, because I still like Wicked Weed stuff. But for some people, it's just the mere fact that they sold out to a big conglomerate is like automatic. Okay, I'm boycotting. And,
yeah, I know it's that cred, the craft beer cred.
And I'm not to that point in my beer snobbery yet. I mean, I really like Elysian, and they're
I love Elysian.
They're also owned by Anheuser-Busch. So,
but see, they haven't changed. So you know what though? As long as they might be owned by them, but as long as they don't, yes, you may not get that cool, hip brewery, craft brew cred. But if you're still making a solid beer and they haven't touched the recipe, why would you harm yourself by not having it?
Yeah, I don't. As long as the beer's good, I don't care. I don't care who owns it.
I mean, you can still buy it, and you don't have to necessarily go hang out at the brewery then if you don't want to deal with it. I mean, I don't know.
I still like Wicked Weed. I still want to visit. They're a really nice brewery up in Asheville, and
yeah, they have a couple. I noticed they added a new one. It looks like a new tasting room or something.
Yeah. I've had some friends that have gone up there, and they say it's just amazing. So I really want to check it out sometime when I'm up that way. I got to get the kids up to the mountains, so it might be a good excuse. All right, so our triple threat last week, this was an interesting one. We were looking for an actor or actress. And clue number 1 was, I once starred as a character who appeared in 3 films, an animated series, action figures, and a theme park attraction. We were looking for Mr. Alex Winter. Alex, of course, starred as Bill S. Preston Esquire in the Bill and Ted film series and the first season of the animated TV series. An action figure line was also produced, as well as a very popular stage show attraction at Universal Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights event.
Yes, and by the way, we should say Cohn did guess this. He got it right.
Yes.
It's the only one we got, though, sent to us.
Good job, Cohn. Clue number 2, while I have not done a great deal of horror movies, I was in one of the more popular fan favorite ones from the 80s. He was in The Lost Boys. He starred as Marco.
Yes.
And then clue number 3, my first film role was in a classic Charles Bronson vehicle, and I did not realize this. I used to love these movies. Alex starred in the Charles Bronson vehicle Death Wish 3. Can you believe my mom, when I was like 12 or 13 years old, I rented the entire Death Wish series. Can you believe that? I mean, there's hardcore rape in those and everything.
Yeah. Well, my grandfather used to watch those, and I used to watch it with him as a kid. I don't think because as long as I stayed quiet, they probably were okay with it and just assumed I wouldn't know what was going on. But I remember him always watching Death Wish and just Charles Bronson movies, etc. Real Charles Bronson, not fake Charles Bronson.
Yeah, I love them.
Because there is a fake Charles Bronson out there.
Yeah,
now.
He's lurking around out there.
A poor guy. He's like his real name is Robert Bronzy, he's actually, but he does look remarkably like Charles Bronson. Well, that's how they got that, like almost that new Death Wish movie they did. It was like Death Kiss, I think, or something that he did, and that's how he became the fake Charles Bronson. Now he's in a lot of other things, but anyway, this next one I think could be a little hard for people.
This is a challenge. I'm gonna go out on a limb. This one could be challenging, and it doesn't seem that way because we're just looking for a movie. Yeah, seems simple enough, right? Well, here are the clues. Clue number 1, this movie was originally going to be a sequel to a classic 60s horror film. However, before production started, they decided it would be a remake of sorts instead.
Now, that's scary enough. That's your best clue out of these 3 to help you find it.
Yeah. So just to give you that one more time, it was originally going to be a sequel to a 60s horror movie, but before production started, they turned it into a remake instead. Clue number 2, upon release, this movie was banned in a number of provinces in Canada. Like, what movies weren't banned in Canada?
Yeah, I know.
That's a vague clue. But it's a clue. Clue number 3, the movie director's last name is the same as one of the more regal monsters in history. I should say in movie history, because the monster did not actually exist.
Yes, in movie history. Yes. Yeah, he did. Well, we don't know if he existed. We just... Maybe haven't.
Oh, you gave it away. It's a he, so it's not Nessie.
Oh yeah.
Or some other female monsters. I'm drawing a blank.
Was it Mothra? Is she? Or, I don't know.
It's Mothra girl. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Uh,
Well, there's one of those Godzilla characters are a female. I thought it was Mothra. But,
it might be. All right, so on to our fan topic food question, and this is another from David McHugh, Horror Mailman on Twitter, and this one's a toughie. This one was probably the hardest one I've been given. I would say for me.
Yeah, but it's only because of the when you hear the nature of the question, it's almost it's a good question, but it's also kind of limiting because of basically, we do it, but we'll go through it. So it's basically, he's asking, what was our least favorite movie we have reviewed? Now, why is challenging is because, well, most of the movies we do in this podcast, we hand pick.
Right.
So it's like, they're either our favorites that we've had or ones that we really wanted to see. So, there's really a small room for to be a horrible movie to review. But now he just says, what is our worst? He doesn't say which is the worst movie ever. He says the one it's the worst review
least
that we did.
Favorite, yeah, least
favorite. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like it's the worst. It's just our least favorite. So I'll start it off, Tim.
Okay.
Well, mine is going to be, I'm going to say, and it's because it's one that we actually gave a second chance to, no less, and that was Haunt. Because the reason I'm saying that is because we both didn't like it on the first viewing, but everyone was telling us how much they liked it, and it was so much fun. So we're fair. We said, okay, you know what? Let's watch it again. See if we missed something. And we did not miss anything, according to us. We still did not like it the second time. It didn't help. I think that Hellfest was way better that was out, and we did like that one. So
I still feel that movie still bugs me because I feel like I should like it more than I did.
Right. And so that gives me some animosity towards the movie.
Yeah.
And that's why that's why when he says my least favorite, well, that's why, because it also brings up those emotions of like, it's a haunt movie. We love haunt movies.
Yeah.
I mean, we just talked about one in the interview, Fear Farm. We love that one. And that, and it's like, anything about a haunt movie. I mean, we loved Houses October Built. We love Extremity. We love Hellfest. I even love that Funhouse Massacre one. Anyone with a haunt in it is almost a guaranteed like. But there was something about this one, and I think it befuddled me that I didn't like it as much. I don't know what it was.
If you had not liked it and I did, or vice versa, I would have kind of just glossed over it. But the fact that we both didn't like it didn't make sense to me. Like, there had to be something there, because it's very rare that we disagree on movies. I mean, there's been a couple of exceptions, but...
And it's usually at a level of like, well, you really loved it and I thought it was okay.
Right,
or I was a little
right.
disappointed, or vice versa, where it's like there's a level of one of us had more of an enthusiasm to it, and the other one maybe a little disappointed. But yeah, rarely did we both agree where we just both disliked the movie. I mean, and it's like, and I think so that's why it's not now, and it's not saying this is the worst movie we've ever seen. By far, it's not.
God, no.
It's just based off the question. It says least favorite movie we've reviewed, so that gives us, I mean, reviewed is a term. I don't count movies I've seen. I count movies I assume that I'm taking the spirit of the question. If a movie that we featured on the show, and we've been lucky. Yeah, we've been lucky. We've had a lot of great screeners that came our way, and it's like, most of them that come from Shudder, no less, too. And so Shudder is whoever is the official curator for Shudder. I know there's probably a number of them. They always seem to get the creme de la creme, of movies. So it's like your odds are good that you're going to get something good. And like the ones we've reviewed at the festivals, we kind of handpicked to make sure we watch those. So it's like,
it's hard.
It's
like hard question. I actually came up with one when I was looking through the list. My original pick was going to be one we did way back, and I don't even remember what episode it was, called Goat Sucker. That was kind of a low budget.
Oh, that was our cryptid, cryptid month.
Our low budget indie film, and it wasn't great, but I remember when I started looking back on it, I was like, there was things about that movie I actually liked, as I recall.
Yeah, we had fun with talking about it. Remember, we were cracking up at some stuff.
So I was like, I can't really pick that one. And then I came across one. Actually, while we were talking, Brian, it just kind of popped in my mind, and I realized that was probably a good candidate, because it's for the same kind of reason that you chose Haunt. and that was that found footage 3D. Remember that one?
Oh yes, we both did not like
Yeah.
that one either.
And that one was another case where the premise sounded awesome. We love found footage movies. We love 3D. We love the whole aspect of it. There was a kind of a big hype around. I remember when Shudder was going to have it, like there was a lot of hype around it. And I think I kind of got overhyped for that one, and I just really didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it, and I even watched it twice again, trying to give it another chance, and it just never clicked with me. And so that would kind of be my least favorite. Again, not the worst movie I've watched, but in terms of something we featured that we thought was going to be really, really good, and then we just like, it's a hard question because, like Brian said, we've curated our own podcast. We don't typically. We've done some silly commentaries for some bad movies. But we typically.
I wouldn't count that as a review.
No, yeah, we typically feature films that either we love or that we think will be of interest to the listeners because they're screeners and they're coming out soon. They're going to be on Shudder soon, and we know you guys will be able to see it. And the third category I would say would be like low budget indie movies because we support low budget film, we support indie film. So yeah, there's kind of all these categories, but we're even curating inside of each of those categories. So it's really tough to say that any of them are our least favorite. But that would go up there with another one like Haunt, where there was to coin a Coaster Radio term, some disappointment there.
Yeah, and what's frustrating is again, it's one of those things where it's like there's just like little built up animosity towards it because it's a movie we should have liked, and like it doesn't, when you have like a horror movie and like okay, one when in the subgenre we like featuring like either a 3D thing and a haunt type of thing, it's almost like that thing when they say like like when there's someone that's such a favorite in a sporting event and they say, well, they would have to lose it themselves, basically, at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like that. Like they were already at the top and they just, as long as they delivered to a good level, it was going to be light, but they somehow found a way to lose the game. And everything just like, I don't know what it is. And then, and then to get frustrated by it, it's like, not way you want to remember a movie. Yeah. You don't want to be angry like, well, this made me angry because I don't know why I didn't like it, which makes it even worse.
I'm the type, because and you guys know this too from the podcast. Me and Brian we try to find the good in movies, even ones that aren't great. I tend to more remember the things I liked than the things I disliked. There's some exceptions. I mean, I enjoy trash talking movies as much as anybody, and I hate watch some TV shows that I don't like with Olivia. Yeah, I like the term hate watching. There's shows I will freely admit that I hate watch. But all in all, in general, and you guys will see me too on the horror movie challenge talking kind of bad about some of these movies, not but just like more like they're boring or whatever. But all in all, I tend to be like a movie optimist. So that's why I think it bugs me even more when I don't like a movie, because I'm always second guessing myself. Why didn't I like that? Or why couldn't I find that optimism in that movie that I normally find? And I think that's what was kind of frustrating because, and some people may not, I don't know if you guys out there listening like that or don't like that or disagree with that. I know there's plenty of people out there who will tell you their opinion of a movie in no uncertain terms, and they're just like, oh, this movie sucked and this movie was okay. But I don't know. I'm kind of like that in real life too. I am a bit of an optimist. I like to try to find the good in every situation as much as possible, so it kind of carries over into my hobbies as well.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I'm like, I could be so negative at sometimes, but like with movies, since I love movies so much, I'm more, I take that approach. I'm always trying to find the good. I'm always trying to find I mean, like, again, it goes back to the reference I was saying before. It's like a movie, just a movie already I love, so I'm always at this like, okay, you're now, your job is to keep me there and not lose me, kind of a thing. Like I'm already at a high level because it's a movie and I love movies.
Yeah.
So and it's hard because I know like we tend to be that's kind of always been the way our podcast goes. We try and find the good. We try and find the positives in a movie. And, and we'll say that. We'll preface everything. We're like, we might we'll recommend movies all the time, but no way are we giving it's very few times, if you notice, we'll say, this is a must watch. You have to watch this. We'll just say how much we liked it, because that's really what's bad. I think everyone needs to decide on their own what movies they like. We could suggest ones that we liked, and obviously there's probably a lot of people out there that have the same taste as us, so it works. But
all right, guys. Well, thanks again to Emily Sweet for coming on.
Oh my God, she's the best.
Yeah, such a wonderful guest. We had just a really great time talking to her, and I cannot wait for the Castle Freak reimagining. Go watch the original Castle Freak if you haven't watched it in a while. I actually plan to go back and watch it because I feel like I've done a disservice to this episode for not watching it for tonight's episode, and I'm gonna rectify that situation. That's gonna definitely be on my Halloween list to watch again, and we'll see you back here next week. This is one of the few weeks, Brian, that I have no idea what we're going to do next week, and I love those weeks.
I don't know either. I mean, then again, we have so many screeners, but I feel like at this point, those screeners we'll just do little mini reviews on the episode, and we should pick an actual feature. This is Halloween week, so next episode's gonna be Halloween week. We got to do some kind of classic that we haven't done yet. So if you guys have any suggestions, definitely tweet them out quickly so that we can try to maybe incorporate them. Yeah, I think what I may do is look through, through Shudder, see if there's any ones that we've just not done a full, one of those and I'm also gonna look at the Monolith, see, go through there, see if there's anything that maybe we didn't. And I also want to kind of do go back to our old school style and let's do a really deep dive into it, because we've had a lot of shows where we've had interviews and stuff, which is kind of limited the time we can do discussion of. But if we're going to do a classic, I'd really like to dig deep into it and kind of go scene by scene. Yeah. We haven't done that since season 1. Yeah, really. That might be fun just for a Halloween treat, Yeah, we definitely got. All right, that's gonna be but everyone still send your suggestions. But I'm gonna start brainstorming right now. Try and get a good movie for next week. Really good, one that we should have done by now. And I'm not talking about one. I know we have a couple epic ones for the we need to kind of save for our 200th episode / 250 episode, and actually, but before you know it, I mean, I hate to say this because I was just criticizing it, but before you know it already, we're gonna be into our holiday horror season coming out. One of them we have on a screener, so that could be one we just save. We watch the screener, but do the episode as it towards the holiday time. And the one we're gonna definitely want to do is Hanukkah this year. I've been saving that to do for our holiday season. Yeah, that was a great Sid Haig. Yeah, that would be nice. Vehicle. And then of course, awesome Sadie Katz, who we liked in Wrong Turn 6. She's in Hanukkah also. So, all right, guys. Yeah, send in those suggestions for next week's show, and we will see you back here next week. Yes, and remember, if you hear something moaning in your castle, take a sniff first.